What are some psychological life hacks you can do to give you an advantage in situations? If you get yourself to be really happy and excited to see other people, they will react the same to you. It doesn't always happen the first time, but it will definitely happen next time. I learned this on here a few years ago. For anyone in customer service, or works for many different situations, but CS is a big one. Put a mirror behind you at the counter. This way angry customers who approach you will have to see themselves in the mirror behind you, and the chances of them behaving irrationally lower significantly. No one wants to see themselves act like a d-head. My personal favorite is when people are angry at me. If I stay calm, it'll get them even angrier, and be ashamed about it after. If you're in a group meeting and you suspect that someone in there might come after you about something, sit right next to them. They were hoping that the group would provide some sort of herd defense, but if you're right next to them, it can't be anything other than personal. This tends to make them back off, or at least substantially temper what they say. Source: had a job with a huge target painted on my back for years. If you ask someone a question and they only partially answer, just wait. If you stay silent and keep eye contact, they will usually continue talking. My boss does this. Making excuses for being late was brutal. Me: I'm sorry I'm late. Car trouble silence. And terrible traffic silence. I overslept silence. I'll work late tonight. Boss, I own you. Pay attention to people's feet. If you approach two people in the middle of a conversation, and they only turn their torsos and not their feet, they don't want you to join in the conversation. Similarly, if you are in a conversation with a coworker who you think is paying attention to you and their torso is turned towards you but their feet are facing in another direction, they want the conversation to end. The moment your alarm wakes you up, immediately react by sitting up, pump your fists and shout yeah. When you first meet people, try to notice their eye color while also smiling at them. It might be because you look for a second or two longer, but all I can tell you is that people really respond to it. For interviews, I recommend altering your psychological state beforehand. Tell yourself, I've known these people all my life. We're old friends catching up. I can't wait to see them. Visualize the experience. Shaking hands, making eye contact, having conversation. What things can you not to wait to tell them? Hold an open pose, stand with your legs apart, hands on your hips and shoulders back while doing this, and smile. This may sound cliche, but you are in charge of your own psychological state and the power of suggestion is strong. Foot in the door phenomenon. People are more likely to agree to do a task for you if you ask them to do something simpler first. Gradual commitment is a crazy thing. I've seen it happen and there is nothing you can do. The physical effects of stress. Increased breathing rate, heart rate act, mirror identically the physical effects of courage. So when you're feeling stress from any situation, immediately reframe it. Your body is getting ready to do courage. It's not feeling stress. Chew gum when you're approaching a situation that would make you nervous, like public speaking or bungee jumping. I can't remember where I heard it, but apparently if we are eating something in our brains trip and it reasons I would not be eating if I were danger, so I'm not in danger, has helped calm me a few times. When a group of people laugh, people will instinctively look at the person they feel closest to in that group. Read: wanna know who wants to bone who? Look at who they look at when everyone laughs. If someone else knew this trick and looked at you to see who you were looking at and vice versa, you would both think you liked each other. If you publicly pass audible gas, close your eyes so no one can see you, or fist pump and say boom. This way people will think that you are not embarrassed about farting in public, and perhaps it is they who are wrong. Don't get physically pissed off at inanimate objects. After a person breaks up with someone, they are at their most vulnerable state for manipulation because of the flood of emotions. This could be used for the good or evil purposes. People have a certain image of themselves and will fight tooth and nail to cling to it. Use this information wisely. False attribution of arousal. When you take somebody out on a first date, take them somewhere exciting that will get their heart beating. For example, roller coaster or horror film. This gets their adrenaline up. It makes them think they enjoy spending time with you rather than the activity. In sales, though I guess it could be applied in other ways, once you make the sales pitch, don't say anything else. My boss at an old job was training me and just giving me pointers. I was working at a gym trying to sell memberships. He told me that once I got all the small talk out of the way and presented the prices, that the first person to talk will lose. It didn't seem like a big deal, but it actually worked. Often there were long periods of awkward silence as the person tried to come up with some excuse, but usually they bought. It was quite impressive actually. People will remember not what you said but how you made them feel. Also, most people like talking about themselves, so ask lots of questions about them. Edit. There's been some really good advice in this thread that refines ask about them quite a bit. That would be good to incorporate. Stuff like, get them talking on a general topic, movies, music, ask them what movies, music, whatever it was they like. Engage them on that. Go from there. Offer bits of information about yourself, then bounce it back to them. That is the snowboarding suggestion elsewhere in this thread. That was a really good one. Watch out for social cues that it's pissing the person off. They might be one of the people who really don't like talking about themselves, and if you notice those cues, stop. Your goal is to make them feel good via engaging them on their most cherished subjects. That is, themselves and the things they like the most. Always be honest, so when you have to lie, people will believe you. When I worked in retail, I had a tendency to get real curt with rude customers. When I realized I was just taking the bait, I decided to be super nice even when they would get openly hostile. Some of them would get even crazier and they looked like tools. I remember the last time this thread showed up, someone posted that if you ask someone to do you a small favor, cognitive dissonance will make them believe that because they did that favor, they therefore must like you. After all, why would they help someone they disliked? I don't have a source unfortunately, but I believe the original comment did. If anyone can find the previous thread. You are in control of your emotions and thoughts. Try replacing some immediate responses. Tell yourself you're happy about something, or you're excited. Eventually your brain will end up believing it. That's the same for being down. And that's why you should never try to diagnose yourself. Saying you're depressed or have social anxiety would end up with you being more anxious and more depressed. You won't notice it at first, but over a few months it will have a pretty noticeable effect on your personality. The best one I ever heard was, apparently, if you have a warm hand when you shake somebody's hand, you immediately become a more desirable person to get along with. By rocking back and forth on the toilet you can poop faster. Stand up straight, no slouching, hands out of pockets, and head held up high. It's not just a cliche, you literally feel better and people around you feel more confident in you. Not always a must, but try to dress well for important occasions, including interviews. If you look good, you feel good, and if you feel good, you'll do good. In a negotiation setting, always start by anchoring, meaning start on a more radical extreme end of what you expect to get. That way, you and the other side can work to that result, rather than you locking yourself out of it. Avoid saying I think, and I believe unless absolutely necessary. These are phrases that do not evoke confidence, and will literally do you no good. When playing a game of cards with casual players, mutter to yourself the exact opposite of what you want to happen. So if you want your opponent to fold, then mutter, please don't fold, please don't fold. An overwhelming amount of times, the opponent will fall for the bait. When feeling anxious, clean up your house apartment. You will feel happier and more accomplished than before. From an academic standpoint, this is mostly just armchair psychology, but from a real-world standpoint, these have all worked very well in my personal and professional lives. If you make the biggest smile you can, you will automatically feel happier. Promise yourself you'll never talk sh about other people, even when the people around you are talking sh, even when you agree with the sh they're saying. You don't have to make a big deal of it, just don't partake in it. Once people get the idea you're not into saying mean sh about other people behind their backs, the amount of sh they talk around you will decrease. It isn't fun to talk sh unless everybody's talking sh. Your decision to stop talking sh and their eventual reaction to you not reciprocating the sh talking will positively affect both of you, as well as your relationship. I don't know. For me, since I made this change in how I interact with people, the amount and quality of my friendships has grown. People will trust you more if they haven't listened to you gossip about other people. You will be seen as a more positive person than other friends who do talk The gap gossiping used to fill will be replaced with way more interesting and or intimate conversation too. IDK, just stop talking and be kind. Refer to people you've just met by their name. People loving being referred to by their name, and it will establish a sense of trust and friendship right away. Say your friend introduced you to Peter. After 5 minutes he decides to leave. Don't just say bye, but instead say bye Peter. When you are studying, learning something new, teach your friend how about it. Let them ask questions. If you're able to teach something well, you understand it. Make it a practice to get rid of filler words and phrases such as like, you know, etc. Instead use short pauses to gather your thoughts before speaking. Using filler words keys whoever you're talking to that you are thinking about what you're saying. Leaving them out makes these thinking spots less noticeable, since you aren't essentially announcing to the world that you are thinking, and makes you seem more sure of yourself. If you're playing beer pong and your opponent is playing like he sold his soul to the devil, all you have to do is ask what he is doing to with his opposite throwing hand. Damn bro, you're playing hella good. What are you doing with your left hand when you shoot? This will make him conscious of his left hand and he will start messing up almost every time. Drink well my friends. If you really want something from someone, frame it as an offer rather than a request. When Teddy Roosevelt was running for president, his campaign printed out 3 million leaflets with a picture of Teddy and a copy of a campaign speech. The campaign then realized that they didn't have the rights to the photo. Instead of explaining the situation to the photographer, which would have given him leverage to ask for a lot of money, the campaign made an offer that they would use the picture, giving the photographer lots of publicity if the studio paid them $250. The studio paid the money,